Hi guys, so I'm here with Fiona today, and we're here because we have a vision that we want to share with you for something we are creating. So we've called this the Heart-Centered Visionaries. So we basically want to hold a space for people to, basically it's a platform to help you all, to inspire you with stories and to basically help people in well-being promote themselves and to share their work in the world. So we're here to have a chat. So how are you, Fiona?
Yeah, I'm really, really good, Hannah. Very excited to be here. I'm very excited to be collaborating with you. Um, and it's a funny thing, actually. Hannah and I, we were discussing our dreams at one point, sort of maybe a month or two ago, and we realized that we both shared a similar vision of creating what Hannah's just described, which is some sort of regular offering of a space where people could come together. Um, People could offer their work through our platform, and we realized we both had this idea of getting people that we knew whose work we admired and respected, and give them the space to speak about it and to perhaps do a talk, or we'd interview them, and we were like, wow, we've got the same vision. So we were like, why don't we do it together and make it even bigger and more amazing, and share what we both bring. So here we are.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's just so aligned. It's funny how things
Yeah.
work out.
Yeah.
You're in alignment and things come to you. So and how, this, I feel like, as you said, we have this similar vision, a personal vision and a like collective vision
Mm,
in this. And I think with what's
mm,
happening in the world right now, it's like more important than ever that we connect and help each other
mm,
thrive,
mm.
because there's so much uncertainty that we need support, we need to.
Yeah.
And I think through collaborations like this we can help each other, understand where we're at and what we want to bring to the world. So I think
Yeah.
it is important for everyone right now to, I think for myself, and probably feel the same, it's like we're all reflecting on our lives and kind of looking at
Mm,
what really matters and what is not so important. And hopefully in this time I feel like a new world is being born, and we as the people in like well-being are passionate about bringing out, a more heart-centered world. I definitely feel that's
mm,
important. So
mm.
how
Yeah.
do you what do you feel about the vision that we're building? What would you say is at the heart of all
Yeah.
of this?
Yeah. 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 No, totally resonate with what you just said. um I About last October, I started getting this constant download of the word collaboration into my psyche from what felt like my higher self or my soul. It was just this word kept coming, and I feel this. I've had these experiences just lately. I've started to collaborate with different people, and I'm noticing that when we work together, um, the it's almost like the fusion of our energies and our gifts is actually able to reach and help more people than if we just stayed separately doing our own thing. And I just have this feeling that at this time we're being called really to come together and work in community, to work, not only collaborating through work, but also collaborating to share what we have with our neighbors, to look after each other, with everything that's collapsed in terms of our usual social structure. um, I'm really aware of how much we're being called to reach out to each other, and support and help each other and offer what we have. And there's a kind of, it's a bit like Jesus feeding the 5,000 with 2 loaves or whatever. It's kind of like, if you take what you have and you share it, actually it's enough. Like it's enough for, it kind of, I'm not religious, but I get that concept of like, we're more when we're together. We're,
Mm.
that feeling. So
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a really powerful image, I think.
yeah.
It's true, it's
Yeah.
having that compassion, isn't it, for each other, and that
Mm,
like looking
mm,
out for each other. And I think if you think back to like indigenous tribes, they all and
yeah.
still do they always support each other, and I think we've lost that in our culture, which is really
Yeah.
sad. So, you know, when this all happened, a woman from down the road like popped a note through the door with her number and said, if you need any
Mm.
supplies, please ring me, and things
Yeah.
like that. So I think
Yeah.
that's, it's so important that we connect, as you say, and help each other, because
Mm.
the more
Mm.
we share, the more we expand, and the more we kind of shine our light and our gifts, as you say. So that's,
Yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I think that for me, and what we spoke about before, is that, you know, starting newly on this journey of being an entrepreneur and kind of sharing my gifts in the world, it can be really overwhelming at the beginning of that. So that's why I feel called to have this platform, or this vision we've created, to
Mm.
like really help people promote themselves and share their work, you know,
Mm.
people that are at the
Mm.
beginning of their journey.
Mm.
So,
Mm. Mm.
you know, as well, because I think when we have a safe space to do that,
Mm.
we can open up and share our stories, and that's what really motivates people to
Mm.
almost take a different direction. And I think that's what's happening now, is people
Mm.
are maybe in jobs that aren't fulfilling and doing things that they don't feel passionate about, and they're looking for other options. So I think this is a great time for people to look within and to explore what feels nourishing, and
Mm.
feels, you know, it fills them with joy. You know, we all need to come back to that place.
Mm.
So I think that's beautiful what you've described. And what would you say? You know, I know we've got a similar vision for
Mm.
uh, this platform. What would you say is like your personal vision for your life?
Yeah, well, it's been the same thing for many, many years, which is to be living in a world. Well, my own personal vision, I guess, is ultimately to be living in community,
Mm.
um, very close to the earth. So in an eco community where we are living in a way that's fully in harmony with the earth. So you know, there it's off grid. It's you know, we're very much working with the cycle of the seasons.
Mm.
We're growing our food in harmony with, you know, it's all organic, it's all permaculture. And my personal vision has always been to be living in a community that's not an insular one. So it's much more like a sort of educational centre, almost like quite a big community where perhaps the public are coming through, and we're running workshops and classes, and there's lots of different forms of healing going on, and
Beautiful.
people can come and they can learn how to you know, how to live in harmony, not only with the earth but with each other. So a lot of what I envision in my dream is that, you know, we have workshops on conflict resolution and, you know, all the different things that could come up in community. um, and I have always wanted this for as long back as I can remember. I had this vision of this very peaceful way of life that we're embodying, and we've learnt how to, you know, how to do, and then we're able to help people who want to learn and want to heal. So that's my personal vision, and that's a very collaborative dream. It's like, you know, we're living as community. We're supporting and sharing and helping each other.
That's
And yeah,
beautiful. And I
yeah,
think, like you said, it's so important that we live in harmony with nature.
yeah,
Look at so
yeah.
many places have been
Mm,
overbuilt, and
mm,
we've just lost touch with nature. And I think that's so
completely,
important, to be
completely.
nourishing ourselves. When can we move
Yeah,
there? I want to move.
yeah, yeah. I know, right?
This sounds the dream. Sounds like the dream. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
do you see yourself in this country, in this community?
Yeah, for some reason I've always thought that's here. You know, I don't know. Like I love this land. I really deeply, deeply love this land, and I have lived abroad. I've lived in other countries, and in the end, my heart always brings me back. It just every time. So you know, I sense that it's time soon for me to really step into creating that as a reality, not just a dream. But for me, the first steps of that are things like what you and I are doing here, which is starting to collaborate on a vision of, you know, how to create heart-centered community. and you know, here we are. So it's the first step for me, is you know, because there's a lot of creases that have to get ironed out, even at this level of, you know, how do we do this? How do we navigate bringing two people's visions together and merging them into one thing, so that, you know, it can become that dream that we've both had. And I mean, that's a huge, powerful process, just even what you and I are working out together to create this. So I feel like that's a really lovely step on my journey of, yeah, learning how
Beautiful.
to do it. So
It's funny you were saying about collaboration before, because the same, you said it came in your psyche was collaboration,
yeah,
and literally that has been rattling around my mind for about 6 months as well, as I said to you. So it's like I always had this vision of creating some sort of platform, as we've spoken about, to inspire people, to connect with people, but I just didn't know who I was meant to do it with. So yeah,
interesting.
I feel that, you know, like as you say,
Yeah,
collaboration is so important.
yeah,
We are all helping each other. We've all got
yeah.
gifts and strengths to use, and we come together and combine that, and we're even stronger collectively, but also individually.
Totally.
So,
I Yeah, I'd love to hear your personal vision for your life. You know what that is.
yeah,
You feel
so
to share.
yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I think I've been on a journey definitely the last few months more, as I guess we all have. But I guess it's getting clearer for me. It's something that I've always seen myself as a bit of a dreamer, and people have always said, as a creative, I've always got millions of ideas, and I don't always know what to do with them. But I think it's becoming clearer, and my big vision is in some ways very similar to yours, but really to have a retreat center where people can come, and it's really a place for mind, body and soul, where people can heal themselves and do the inner work and just get in touch with themselves at a deeper level, but also a place where they can really connect with each other, and it's almost like they can find their tribe and be safe there. Because I think when you come on this, let's say, conscious path, it can be really isolating. And I definitely know, I've experienced that before, when everything completely changes in your life because you've gone through so much transformation that you need a space to be held in. So I really see that as a big vision for me, and a space where it's not just about the workshops and learning, but there is a space where people can socialize and come together for gatherings and dinners and things. So, that's my vision. And underneath that is really about particularly empowering women to be able to express their truth, to, embody their creative potential, because we all have so much, what's the word, creativity in us, but we can suppress it a lot. I've done this part of my journey, but as a creative, I know how hard it can be. We feel quite different and a bit isolated in that sense. So that's my bigger vision, is just support those people that are really going off, because I think the common theme here, and between me and you as well, is this idea of seeking freedom, living a life on our terms that feels really exciting and feels nourishing and supportive to each other and our personal path. So, that's my ultimate dream. And exactly, it all comes back to collaboration for me as well. So it's, for anyone out there, it's like, you don't have to do this on your own. There's people there to support you. And the first step is just reaching out to those people and making it work, as we are now.
Yeah.
Which feels exciting. So yeah, I guess, it's a journey which is evolving, but it seems to get clearer as you delve in deeper.
Love to, if you could say a bit more about how you came to be where you are now. What your steps were that brought you to here.
Yeah, so Gosh, where do I start? So, you know, don't worry, I won't go because I could be here forever. But I guess my, where do you start on this?
Yeah.
I guess it all really the big point of transformational shift for me was, oh gosh, when about 2015, when and my background, for people that don't know me, so I actually studied fashion design, and it was very challenging, really intense course. As a creative, I love the creative part of it, which was very, very hard, the technical, so much work to do. And anyway, I got through 3 years of that, and I found myself in fashion retail. And I just went from job to job, just feeling really unfulfilled, to be honest. And then I said, this is it. So I decided to move to Sydney, Australia for a year. And I left. I was working Selfridges in London, a big department store. And I decided to just leave the job and just go and live in Sydney for a year, because I felt, I was questioning, what is the meaning of life? I don't feel fulfilled in this job. There's got to be more. So I just went off, with a boyfriend at the time, actually, and went there for a year. And it completely kind of threw me upside down in a way. It's almost that thing of the grass is greener. Grass is always greener. I definitely believe that. As somebody that absolutely loves travel, I thought this is so exciting. And, it was basically, it felt like it stripped me of everything I knew, because I was in a place apart from who I was with, but no one I knew, and I had to start this life. And so it just led me to question, myself, and look at what was most important to me, and what did I actually want from life, because I felt like I had been, how we get into habits of just doing things without questioning them. And I felt like I was just on that path of doing things because I felt I should, not because they've actually fulfilled me. So I was very isolated out there. I went through, probably mild depression, but I had so many jobs in a year. I think I had about 7 jobs. Yeah, it was like literally from uncertainty to uncertainty. And it wasn't my intention. My intention was just to work in different cafes. So it was a lot of hospitality jobs, but it was very hard for me to make friends because I was constantly changing environments. And so I spent a lot of time obviously reflecting. I went for a lot of long walks, and it was just this big shift in my life. Okay, what do I actually want? And then I started looking into personal development. I found a group out there that was like a community, and they were about mindfulness and communication. So that really opened the door up for me. And ever since, I kept exploring that pathway. But it was and I think we all go through these times of change. It's almost like we need to be stripped to then know who we are again. And it very much felt like that, of completely disconnected from everyone I knew, disconnected from myself. And yeah, I just started reconnecting with what I love to do. And I started, painting a lot when I was out there cooking, and just creativity was really nourishing for me out there. So I spent a lot of time walking by the ocean, which was really healing. And I came back completely different, like in a year. It sounds like a year is not long, but I was so different when I got back. And then I just, kept on that path of exploring different things. And yeah, and it's been, ups and downs, but it's led me to feel much happier in myself, and more connected to who I am and what I stand for in the world. So yeah, I guess that's a bit of it. I could go on longer, but that's the main part. That was the big shift for me. And I think for me, because I've had so many jobs, it's like as a creative, I spoke about this the other day, I think that we find it really hard to fit into a box, you know, to fit into the conventional way of life. And there's nothing wrong with that, but personally, it doesn't work for me. And I realized that's why I've had this journey of so many jobs in my life, because it didn't feel fulfilling. It didn't feel like it gave me freedom or space to open my mind, to expand. So I just, as a seeker, I just ended up leaving them. And that is part of my path, I guess, of being adaptable. And yeah, it's brought me to a place of more strength, you know, within myself, and understanding what I really want, what feels important to me, which led me to study astrology, which is where we met, and actually just saying, you know what, I can make this happen, and just for, you know, that's a journey of self-confidence which doesn't happen overnight, but just feeling more strong in who I am, you know. And I think that's a journey we all have to go on, right? So that's, you know, partly, and then it led me to study astrology, and I've been into astrology for you know, since I probably about 6 years, but I started teaching myself, and then I went on a course. Funny enough, that's another story. And I found this course in Glastonbury, and that's how me and Fiona know each other. And I literally found the course like 3 days before it started. I mean, it was so synchronistic. I remember going, it's funny, isn't it, how your intuition just draws you somewhere. And for anyone that knows London, there's this great spiritual bookshop called Watkins. And anyway, I was led there. My intuition was like, you need to go to this talk. And it was by my teacher now, John Wadsworth, and he was doing a talk on his new book. I was like, right, I've got to go. I don't know why, but just go to this bookshop. And I just went, and I was like, oh, he's really inspiring. Like I really want to study with him. And anyway, it turns out there was no courses at the time, until I got an email the next day saying, oh, this new course is starting like 3 days later. And I was like, right, okay, I'm signing up. And it all happened from there. So it's quite incredible how when you like learn to flow with life, I guess that's the message, is like magical things happen without you trying. So yeah,
they do.
And anyway, I could go on a lot more, but I would love to know, I know we've spoken about this as well with your journey, and you know, I've heard, what would you say led you to where you are now? What was the big shift for you that happened?
Gosh. What was the big shift? I think there were many big shifts, as you said in your piece. It's hard to nail it down. But I suppose the kind of obvious piece for me is that I went through a 12-year illness, which was the big turnaround on all levels. But I began my spiritual journey when I was about probably like 17 or 18. I'm 42 now, so it's been quite a long road. But I began it really because my mum was ill and my dad died, and it all I was going through a really, really difficult time at the end of my teens, and really seeking, seeking something, seeking comfort, seeking meaning. And so I began my journey then. But and it took me, you know, much like you say, like into all kinds of different, you know, there were so many phases to that. But by the time I was 26, that was when I got ill. So I had that period from sort of late teens to 26 where I was, you know, studying like massage, energy healing, yoga, and every kind of spirituality you can imagine. I just kind of consumed books on herbalism and homeopathy, and
Amazing.
I learnt loads, and I trained it as a masseuse, and became and started to work as an alternative healer when I was 22. And I left university and never used my degree. I just went off on the kind of spiritual path instead. And so I was deeply immersed in that, and I traveled a lot and met different people, and that was all going okay, except that my emotional state never quite recovered from the death of my father and my mother's illness and all of that. And so I felt like a bit of a hamster on a wheel, hurtling towards a brick wall. And I remember this feeling of like, oh my God, I can't heal myself quick enough for this impending feeling of something bad is coming. And then it did. When I was 26, I became very, very ill, and was in bed for 12 years, and seriously ill, nearly died several times, and was such a deep journey of intense psychological and physical suffering. And that journey of trying to heal myself and get to the root of the illness and what was causing it. And I mean, that is a long, long story, but within that process, I definitely learnt to understand who I was, and what I really wanted from my life. And the process of healing myself was about becoming the real me, instead of the me who I'd been sort of shaped into by my family and society and all the many challenging things that had happened in childhood. So it was a very deep unraveling of that had to happen for me to heal. So I worked ceaselessly, tirelessly to kind of, to unpick it. And in the end, I managed to cure myself completely, which is a miracle for me in itself, having been written off by the doctors. So I'm now really well. And what was amazing that came out of that journey was I'm able to help other people who are also going through something similar to what I was. So my work now has evolved out of it. But one of the things I think that came out of that for me was this incredibly deep desire to be able to offer healing sanctuary for people. Like like I was saying in my personal vision, it's like I want to be part of some big sort of educational healing center where it's understood that that we're only ever ill because we're not aligned with who we really are. And that's the case for, you think how much illness we have on this planet now. It's like so many people are trying to live a life that's not true for them, and actually they're hurting their bodies, they're hurting the earth. We're not taught how to listen to our bodies, we're not taught how to take care of the earth, and we need to change it. So I think my own experience of illness and then recovery it's just created this great thirst to kind of be of service, for many others. So
It's beautiful. It's
yeah.
so like such a I know, touching story. I mean, it gives me shivers. It's like amazing what we can do when we
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
such hard times, challenges. But that, I guess, that's the making of us in some way. As you said, you learnt to heal yourself, and then you can hold that space for other people. That's
Yeah, totally.
so powerful. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of our path, and all of our paths is what we experience. That's part of what we can then teach to others. And that becomes the gift. It's almost
Yeah.
like the wound,
Yeah.
the gift.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that it's amazing you're helping other people do that, and just, it's crazy how so much of what happens in our childhood can affect us.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it manifests in a physical illness,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's incredibly, I mean, it's amazing you sharing that story. I think the more people can share their vulnerability, the more they'll come back to themselves. Like you said, from that is finding who you really are. which is
Mm,
the key to any of this work.
mm, yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, I'd love to hear more about how you work now on the, you know, after everything that you went through, and you've
Mm.
described your story, and how that now sort of informs your work, and how, and the kinds of people that you're helping and how you help. It'd be really interesting to hear.
Yeah. So really, so the work I do after studying astrology and starting to practice astrology, I found that delving into that myself is such a great tool for self-awareness and self-acceptance. And I think that, as what you said, Fiona, so much of us, we don't accept who we are, we're not aligned with who we are. So I
Mm,
found from astrology is really delving into my own natal chart that it can help you understand your gifts, your strengths, what you're here to do, and really help guide people back to their their true self, you know. And
mm,
actually, it really helps people understand their soul purpose. You know, what are
mm,
they here to do? What lights them up? So I started to get really excited about this, and it was completely out of my comfort zone, but started practicing astrology. So it was the end of, well, I guess it's quite recent, 2018. And then, along with that, being an artist, I guess the other challenge I've always had in my life is speaking up. Is, you know, just to
mm,
summarize, I was seen as a very shy and sensitive child, and I didn't really feel understood at all. I pretty much felt invisible, and that was part of my, yeah. It was all that came back to self-expression, and so I struggle with a lot of like low self-esteem, as many of us do, and just not living in alignment with who I was because I felt different. And it comes back to that
mm,
whole, you know, for my part, another part of my vision is really allowing, holding space for women to fully align with who they are, so they can free themselves, almost, you know,
mm,
free themselves from these limitations they put on themselves, that they have to be a certain way and to fit into a box. But
mm,
it doesn't work for, I found, for me, being a creative person, is we are free spirits and we want
mm,
more from life. We want depth, as you said on your journey. We are
mm,
seekers, like we
mm,
can't just be satisfied with, and it's not to say there's something wrong with that, but it's the whole, you know, society of like, this is, you should do, you should go to university, get married, have children. That whole thing just doesn't work for many of us. So why should we pigeonhole ourselves into a box, you know? There's nothing wrong with that, but personally I found that didn't work for me. And as soon as I stopped comparing myself to other
mm,
people, I found freedom. So going back to that is, creativity has always been really healing for me. To
mm,
I was always really, I don't know, it's something like I started talking really late in my life, so it was something about actually physically speaking. I found trouble. I had trouble with that.
mm,
So I
mm,
used art
mm,
and painting as a tool to kind of express how I
mm,
felt. And I've
mm,
always used that.
mm,
So I started realizing, well, actually, this can help people emotionally. This can help them, you know, release their suppressed emotions, release what's making them feel really stressed and uncomfortable.
mm,
So then I've started bringing in intuitive art into it, which
mm,
is a mindful practice, really bringing people into the present moment so they can
mm,
release their stress and put it onto the paper, you know, and actually really like connecting with that inner child part of us
mm,
that we,
mm,
you know, so often neglect as like, you know, people even in their early 20s or younger neglect
yeah,
that, you know,
yeah,
creative part of them. So it was about bringing in, so working with women, looking at the natal charts, but also bringing in the intuitive art,
mm,
guided meditations to really help people, you know, connect with the energy in their chart
mm,
in a way that feels aligned to them, you know, so they can, for me, it's really about freeing people. And, you know, the word, it's really about helping them embody their creative
mm,
potential.
mm, mm,
Because we
mm,
just sometimes, we want to shove, we want to put it into a box, you know, and keep
mm,
it locked shut. And actually that just doesn't help. in that I've definitely myself have felt very frustrated and totally just not true to myself. You know,
mm,
that creative
mm.
fire, that is part of being a woman, right? It's powerful stuff.
Oh yeah, there's definitely.
So it's about bringing that out of people and giving them the freedom, like, this is okay to fully own who I am
Mm, mm,
and fully embrace that and embody that. And what I find is people in their tend to be people in their mid-30s that are kind of really questioning that.
mm,
They've
mm,
completely neglected that creative part of them, and they're feeling stuck because they haven't expressed that. You
mm,
know, they haven't given it the space
mm,
to be free. So yeah, it's a lot obviously about the astrology, but my intention is to empower women to
mm,
find the strength within themselves to free themselves from their
mm,
own restrictions, you know,
mm, mm,
and actually give them permission to fully live the life of their wildest dreams. Because why not?
mm,
We can actually
mm,
totally have it all.
mm,
It's just a mindset thing. It's what we think
mm, mm, mm,
we can, whatever we believe is possible. So
mm,
I'm
mm,
all about the vision, seeing what's possible.
mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's what excites me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And you,
awesome. I
yeah,
love that. I absolutely resonate so deeply with everything you just said. Yeah,
I think that's why we
100%.
connected,
Mm,
because you
mm,
have this,
mm,
you know, embodying
mm.
through the work you do.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was, everything you said, I echo completely of,
Mm.
that we are creative, infinite beings, and our lives can be as juicy and amazing as we allow them to be, but it's us who puts the limit and the restriction on it. Absolutely. um and it's interesting hearing you talk, because my work is very similar in aspect. I mean, obviously we do it in different ways, but the where I see the similarity is that my work is also all about liberating people. And it's, for me, it's men and women, because I work with people, with men as well, who also have illness, which is coming from suppressed life force, which is of course creative energy. So we're talking off the same page, which is very exciting. But I think, yeah, I think these are the times that we've all been waiting for, where we're finally ready as a species, even, to lift the lid that we've been living under. We've all been so repressed for so long, and trying to be good boys and good girls and get it right and live by the rules. And I certainly, my illness was a result of being so squashed by my father early on in my life, that I literally kind of lost my spirit and had to re-find her as an adult. So and the process of reconnecting with my joy and my creativity and my sort of liberated sexual energy has given me back all my energy and more than I ever had before. So that the thing of taking, allowing the creative flow, yes, I really resonate. And how I the way that I work, I guess I have two kind of main, well, maybe three main areas that are my work. And one is working with people who have energy disorders like ME, fibromyalgia, those kinds of conditions that can't be explained, but are actually now really common, and they're all as a result of the life force being blocked. And so I help people to free that and restore their health. And I also work as an astrologer as well. So and I kind of like to link that in with helping the people who are not well, because it's quite a useful way to help them to see what their purpose is and what they might want to open to.
So how
And the
do
other,
you link that with the astrology? I'm
how
interested.
do I connect it? Do you
Yeah,
say?
connect it.
Mostly just because when I'm helping people to free up their energy, part of that freeing up is to help them to be living the life that they really, in their heart, really want to live. And so if they're in a place of like, they just really can't connect with what they really want, then looking at their chart can be really helpful to give, because often when we look at the chart and we say, okay, so your soul purpose is this, whatever it might be, often they'll go, oh, but I already knew, like I knew that, really, I just didn't think I could have that, or I didn't think I could be that, or so then it sort of allows them the permission, I guess, to, you know, to go for it. Because we always know, deep down, we all know what we really want. It's just we've been denied it from so early on, or have been told it's not allowed, like you said. So lots around giving permission is a big part of my work, you know, giving permission to people to express themselves fully, to choose the lives they want, to live the way they want. There's lots of that. And then the other part of my work is working with women, circles of women, to help them to really get in touch with their feminine energy, and get in touch with their, you know, whether that feminine energy is the soft feminine, or whether it's the raging Kali-esque energy who definitely doesn't want to have a lid on her.
No.
So really just liberating the women into the full expression of themselves.
Beautiful.
And that's, you know, that is such a joy, because that's what I've had to do, as have you, Hannah.
Beautiful.
You know, that's my ongoing journey, because I'm certainly not all the way to where I want to be yet either. So it's just great to be helping women who I see, you know, they come and I'm like, oh wow, like we all get to do this together. And again, I think for me there's a piece where the collaborative energy comes in there as well, of you know, when we give each other permission by, you know, by saying, no, yeah, go for it, like cheerlead each other to free ourselves.
Yeah,
you know.
that's really powerful. I love that, all these different aspects you've got, the work you do. And I think it's with what we do, it's like we've got to feel the juice too, like you say, you go on that journey with those people as a group, which is incredible. It's amazing. I think that's what I know for me, it's like that's what fills me with joy, is when people, I see them grow and they like feel really liberated in like expressing themselves. I had this woman get out this whole, I gave her a project to paint your phoenix rising from the ashes, and she did this huge big painting, and it was just incredible. And she hadn't painted for about 15 years, I think.
Wow, how wonderful.
Like, it's so amazing, isn't it, when you see what somebody's done? As you say, they give themselves permission to just fully play and be themselves. It's the magic. So
it is the magic, and we're so lucky to do the work we do. I mean, as you're talking about your work, I really hear your joy in what you do. And it's just, it's like, you know, that we get to do work that brings us joy, helping other people to find their joy. Like, what is better than that? You know, we're all just helping to free each other. It's beautiful.
It is a journey. And I think the other thing is this, is if people are like watching this and they don't feel like they know what their purpose is, you know, it is a journey, and it's not like one day you wake up and that's my purpose. Well, that's what I feel anyway. It's like, I feel like it's something that evolves over time, and it's something that from your experience, as you shared what happened when you were younger, like all those bits of the puzzle pieces, like leading you to your path.
That's
if that
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So,
totally.
I think our obstacles and our joys are all connected.
Totally. Yeah.
And lastly, well, we could go on for ages, honestly.
Yes, we could.
How is this whole situation, I don't want to say the word, the dreaded
the C word.
Yes. How has that affecting you personally, and how do you feel that?
Yeah, gosh, that's a good question. How's it affecting me personally? It's been a strong time. Yeah, it has been strong. I feel like I've had moments where it's just been plain really difficult, and I've really struggled. And then the rest of the time, what's allowing me, I've watched a huge transformation happen through that sort of containment of not being able to, even, you know, not being able to leave the house I live in with the person I live with, and all the difficulty of the relating with that person, and all that has brought to my personal development. You know, there's been so many blessings. There's just been so many blessings that have come out of it. And I've actually experienced myself go through some quite major shifts,
Mm.
and particularly with work. Interestingly, like I have found that my business has really begun to thrive as
Yeah.
I've and it would be a long story to explain why, so I won't go into it right now. But I'm just noticing that that's happening, and
Mm.
yeah, how is it affecting my work? I think that what it's doing for me personally, what it's doing is making me be very clear about what I really want
Mm.
and go for it. And what I'm seeing that doing with my clients is I'm seeing them having the same experience. So people, it's almost like people are going, oh my gosh, we haven't got time to waste anymore. Like, we need to become who we really want to be. It's like, this is the time we've all been waiting for, let's do it. And I'm seeing that happening with clients a lot. It's like people are being incredibly courageous in their willingness to make changes in their lives. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think I always notice that when I make a shift, it sort of seems to be this to transfer into what my clients also do. So it's been really amazing to see people really stepping up into their purpose,
Mm. That's
and heal as a result. Because as soon as you start to live the life you're born to live, your body heals. It's just the way of it in my experience. So
so
yeah, it's been
powerful.
powerful.
It's like it's like the doors have opened up for you. I feel like there's a shift, definitely.
Yeah. So is it the
Showing
same?
up.
How has it been for your side? Like,
I can relate to. I can relate to some like parts of what you say as well.
mm,
It's amazing that your business is thriving. I feel like the same in from the business perspective. I guess I've only been, I only left a full-time job back in October, so
mm,
still kind of in the early stages of what
mm,
I'm doing. But I definitely can connect with what you say, is getting much clearer about what I
mm,
want and what I'm
mm,
doing, and
mm,
really drawing in the people that are ready to step up. Like you say, it's like there's a sense of urgency, like, oh, I've
mm,
got this vision, but I haven't taken action on it for a
mm,
year or more. We ponder on these things, and it's like they have this kind of spark or hunger in them to just
mm,
go, screw this, I want to step out of my comfort zone. So I felt, yeah, it feels like the right people are coming, and there's an
mm,
things are growing in my business, which feels amazing.
mm,
It feels more
mm,
aligned with who I am. And I think partly that is the personal side of it, I guess. It's funny because I like structure, but at the same time, I've actually, as awful as what is happening in the world, I've kind of been really grateful for this opportunity
mm.
to, it's almost like I felt like it's been a bit of a mini retreat for me.
Wow.
But then I know not everyone is feeling like that. So I mean, there's a big transit happening for me
Yeah.
astrologically to, as you know, so it's like the world came to how I was feeling on the inside.
Mm,
So, so yeah, I feel like it's been an opportunity to reflect on what I really want. And funny enough, it's, obviously not seeing people is weird and sad, but somehow I've still really connected with people that I care about. So,
mm, mm,
obviously I miss seeing them and hugging them, but it's like I've been more focused on what I'm doing and being able to pursue that, without so many distractions,
mm,
in the outside world. So,
mm,
yeah, there's things I miss, of course, but I feel that I'm almost quite comfortable in this,
mm,
and I'm wondering what's going to happen when things go back to
mm.
normal. I think there's
If
a
if they ever do, yeah,
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 exactly.
we're
That is
not
the
sure.
question. And what would you say you've learned most from this COVID experience, like situation for you personally?
What have I learned? Gosh, what have I learned most?
Your
I think for me, it's just been a deepening of this of the be true to yourself, be
mm,
you, and be the change you wish to see in the world. I think it is literally that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Mm.
Yeah. How about you?
That's so powerful, isn't it?
Mm,
Be the change. It's like we practice what we
mm,
preach.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I can really resonate with that. I think
Mm,
it's stand up,
mm,
literally stop putting the roadblocks in your way. Obviously that's harder said. You can say that sometimes it's harder to get out of your own way, but I feel like it's, for me, is like, just, yeah, literally stop making excuses and get out of your own way and make it happen. Because if this isn't an opportunity to do it, then I don't know what is.
mm,
I feel like it's just shaken me up and kind of gone, stop saying it's going to take years to build a thriving business. Just do it now.
mm,
And
mm.
I think when you fully commit to putting your time and energy into something, you're going to see results.
Absolutely.
So
I fully agree. Yes.
it's part of
Yes.
that for me. Yeah, definitely. But there's
Mm,
many things, and I just hope that people, really assess their life and kind of live,
mm,
start living, that's doing things that are true
mm,
to themselves, even if it's
mm,
just slowly transitioning into that thing that they love to do on the side.
mm,
But it's, for me, I think it's more important that people have joy and
mm,
express themselves, like
mm,
creativity, like we've spoken about.
mm, mm,
And actually that's very healing. It helps the emotional, mental
mm.
health as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I mean, if anything is being needed on this planet, at this time, it's for people's lives to come back into balance between work and recreation, and and looking after their bodies and their minds,
Mm,
because things just went so out of balance. Thank God that COVID-19 came along to say stop, really. As I know that could be taken many ways, what I've just said, but for me it was like, well, what else could have happened? Something had to interrupt the direction we were going as a
mm,
planet.
mm,
So i
completely.
just i just hope that we can find the balance and find the
Mm,
way forward. um, but yeah, there's a lot of work to do. There is a lot of work to do,
yeah.
but all the more reason to find ways to make it joyful and do it together, and really support each other going forward.
Mm,
So
mm.
hopefully we will be finding very interesting people to bring to inspire people. We'll have
Totally.
lovely people coming onto this program. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
great.
definitely. And I
Yeah.
think the key point I just want to take out that is the balance. Like you say, people are so out of
Mm,
balance, and I
mm,
think we both on the same wavelength, that it's
mm,
how can we live in a more aligned way, but how
yeah,
can we live from this feminine energy?
yeah, yeah,
Because so much of the time we're pushing and trying to go in the masculine
yeah,
energy, which I find myself doing often, and I have to step back. But I think it's finding a way for people to live
mm,
a more balanced
mm,
life. So it's like a
absolutely.
new paradigm of stepping into
Mm,
that.
mm,
Women, or let's not just like
mm,
feminine energy, where we can be
mm,
free
mm,
and fully liberated, as you
mm,
said.
mm. And free to allow our creative energy to flow, and not just be in that constant do energy
Mm,
that used to be. I'll say used to be, because I hope it is over. That used to be the way we lived in this culture,
mm,
and many cultures. And yeah, absolutely, it is this new paradigm that we're bringing in,
mm,
is about being in balance, being in harmony, listening to the body, listening to the earth,
mm,
and listening to each other, and finding that way to collaborate, to take care of each other. It's such a different way, it's such a different model than
mm,
what we were in. And I think each of us is bringing a piece of that puzzle, each one of us. And it's
completely.
just, yeah, so the more we can come together and share what we have, the more chance we have of creating that new world.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah, yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Well, I feel like we've chatted through quite a few bits.
yeah.
And I mean, I guess we'll to say to everyone out there is, stay tuned. We hope to make
Mm,
this like a regular thing, and
mm,
we'll update you.
mm,
But our intention is to bring people on, and we can
mm,
have these heart-centered conversations with them and help them share their gifts with the world and help you all on your journey. So it's
Yeah,
very
it's very
exciting.
exciting. Woohoo! There's so many amazing people out there who have such incredible, inspiring stories and offerings, and just to give them a platform from which to kind of share what they have it feels wonderful. So
Exactly.
we're really excited about
Yeah.
this.
We inspire and uplift each other. We're all here together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we'll get through this. We will find our way into that lovely vision of a new world that we both have and that we all share. Because I know so many people who share that vision. So
Totally.
together we can do it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
Mm.
It's possible.
Mm.
Well, I think shall we leave it there? And
Mm.
I hope you enjoy our conversation, and we'll be doing more. So stay tuned for that.
Great.
Anything
Loads of
you
love.
want to add?
Big love to everyone.
Love to you,
Mwah.
Fiona, and
Bye.
everyone. Bye.